Hello and welcome to a very, very quick show about Arnautovic, about his brother, about the news which seems to be changing and breaking just minute by minute and certainly day by day. I'm just mindful myself and Gio did a cup of tea last night and the news has changed really since then. We speculated an awful lot, and since then, unless you've been hiding under a rock and maybe you don't know, maybe you've just seen the title of this, and well basically Arnautovic's brother has released a statement which is odd. I mean, slightly odd for anyone's sort of family to release a statement, but obviously got to take into context that Arnautovic's brother is also his agent. But it's even by agent standards, I'm gobsmacked by it, really. This is so very, very public. And it's created a situation at West Ham where it can't be healthy. It can't be healthy in any way, shape or form whatsoever. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. I've got to get out. I've got to get out this evening. So, but I just wanted to put something up and then have somewhere for people to comment and get a few of your views on it as well. I'm just going to take you through the statement quickly. I've opened up the live chat as well. Just I know it's an odd time for us to do a video, but just in case anybody's there, I've opened up a live chat so you can chat about it amongst yourselves. Right. Okay. So. It's Daniel Arnautovic. So here's his statement. He says, West Ham bought Marko for peanuts. The first line in itself, it's funny language, isn't it? You know, straight away it's peanuts. He's basically saying, we got him on the cheap. He goes on to say they paid 20 million for him, which is nothing in the current market. Well, you know what? At the time, I mean, it was up. We'd signed Ayew, but that was it. It was our record transfer. So, I mean, he's belittled it straight away, saying that we'd paid peanuts and it's nothing in the current market. Well, actually, for a club like West Ham, it was a big deal, and I'm pretty sure for Stoke to receive that amount of money, it was a big deal as well. He says they bought him to keep them in the Premier League. Really? Did we? Is that so? Okay. Last season, he did that. He took every award at the club. Best player, signing of the season, and the Players' Player Awards. Fine, absolutely. And he was brilliant, wasn't he, once he got started, once David Moyes came in, moved him into a striker, he was very, very good. He says, now West Ham have a fantastic offer. He obviously means the 35 million euro bid from an unnamed Chinese club. So where are we? It's a fantastic offer. It's close to double what they paid for him. He wants to go to a new market and challenge for titles. So his brother is saying that Arnie wants to go to a new market, to a new place. It's funny how he's called it a market. He's not saying a new club. I mean, that's a financial term, isn't it? So he's wants to go to a new market and challenge for titles. I mean, at what point when Arnautovic was growing up did he think, I know what I want to do? I want to play Shanghai Rovers or whatever they might be called and win the Chinese Premier League title? We know that's absolute nonsense, that one there. But here's the key. He says he wants to go to a new market and challenge for titles. Forget the titles bit. We all know what that is. But that's his brother saying that. Now, we're going to need to hear from Arnautovic, and I'm sure when we do hear from Arnautovic, it's going to be a, what should we say, a slightly more pink and fluffy version of it. But there's no way that his brother Daniel has released his statement without Arnautovic knowing about it. Anybody that thinks that Arnautovic did not know about this statement is deluding himself, basically. He would have known about this. So that's a very, very big statement. As his brother saying that he wants to leave. Okay. He says he knows that West Ham fans love him and he has a special connection with them. But things move on. I mean, crikey, they move on quick as well, didn't they? I mean, that really has moved on. That's a year. You'd be, crikey. Imagine marrying someone. But it's been a year. We move on. I'm not sure. He says he moves on. He does have a special relationship with the West Ham fans, doesn't he? He certainly does. He gives it all of that. Not that. Does that mean anything? If you leave after a year, if you demand a transfer, or get your brother to demand a transfer, I'll not be careful what I say. I don't think anyone's going to come in and sue me or anything like that. But I am mindful that these are his brother's words. But it's not some agent of another agent twice removed. It's his brother, and his brother has an awful lot to say. And his brother has been trying to get an improved deal for Arnie for quite some time. So things move on. This is the world of sport, and he hopes they can understand. Well, they won't understand. That's for sure. Listen, I can't speak for everybody, but this stinks a little bit, actually. This is not good. We've been through this before. with Payet, although it was perhaps done a little bit more cloak and dagger. This is very brazen. This is very upfront, this one here. Where are we? Okay, so he hopes they can understand. Marko is professional and is preparing himself for the Arsenal game. Well, that's nice. That's lovely. Thank you. He will give 100% for West Ham. That is Marko. He will never change. Well, until he changes his club, I guess. Until he is no longer a West Ham player, he will give everything to the club. He hopes that the fans can respect his wishes. Now, I just really don't know what to make about that, or maybe I do. But anyway, the club have responded by saying Marko has a contract and we fully expect him to honour it. He is not for sale. This is the kind of public to-in and fro-in that we just don't need. We don't need. This is... You just everything starts to run smoothly, doesn't it, at West Ham, and then something like this comes and throws a spanner in the works. The whole China thing, it's all about money. Let's make no bones about it. Forget the title. We don't want to go and win the Chinese title. Absolute nonsense. It's money. They want to double his money, at least double his money. I think he might be, once his bonuses are paid, it's a 90 grand a week at West Ham. Now that's going to be taxed, okay? So he's going to be paying 40% tax if you're earning that sort of money. He's going to get 200 grand a week in China untaxed. It's about money. Don't let anybody spin it. And when something like that is said, all this other stuff about the fans love him, he has a special connection, but things move on. Well, they can't both be true. You can't love the fans and have a special connection. Oh, but they move on. I mean, that's just fickle. Which is it? I do believe, actually, he'll play well against Arsenal if selected. Who knows what's going on? Who knows what's going to happen in the dressing room when the stuff like this is going on? But I can't see this having a happy ending. And here's what I think. There's another article. I've read that statement of Claret and Hugh, and there's another article of Claret and Hugh who will have been briefed by the top sources at the club. Make no mistake about it here. And I won't bore you with the small detail because it's a financial article, but it basically goes on to say that 35 million euros equates to the bid being worth 31.5 million, of which we owe a percentage. It might be 20% to Stoke, which is 6.2 million off of that. So we're looking at about 25 million quid. Well, we bought him for 20. Now, that's been leaked by the club. If the club did not want to sell him, they wouldn't have leaked that information. That would not have been it. That is basically the club saying, well, hold on a minute. That's a derisory offer. We're not going to accept 25 million for Arnautovic, which means he's got a price. And I do think, and I'm not digging the club out here because this has now been 3 or 4 times. I said yesterday on a cup of tea that his brother had been in 3 times this season to demand a pay rise. And the fact that he's demanded it because he's done his job, he saved us from relegation, he won Player of the Year. He was already on a fantastic amount of money. This is not Declan Rice, who was on 3 grand a week. He is on a lot of money, an awful lot of money. Arguably, got more from West Ham than he would have got from anyone else had he moved from Stoke. Because when he left Stoke, here's the thing, it's not like he did us a favour, because he's acting like he's done us a favour. Man United weren't after him, Chelsea weren't after him, Real Madrid weren't after him. Stoke got relegated, did they? Oh no, that was last season. Sorry, big one. I got it wrong. But anyway, the point is, West Ham was the best option. There weren't a queue of other clubs bigger and better than West Ham waiting to sign Marko Arnautovic. So he did a good move. And you know what? He came along and he did his job as our record signing, or close to it. Maybe Ayew was a little bit more. But as close to our record signing, he did his job. Ayew didn't, by the way. But he did his job. And now for doing your job, you want more, even though you've got a special connection and this, that, and the other. It's going to be very, very hard for him to back this away, bearing in mind his brother said it without making his brother look a complete idiot. And I don't think he's going to do that. Whatever statement or whatever he comes out with, a little Instagram post or whatever he does, he's going to try and play it with a straight bat, to use a cricketing term. He's going to try and play it straight down the middle. But I think the club have had enough of his brother running in there, have had enough of all this. And yes, they've said he's not for sale. They've got to say that. They have to. But I think reading between the lines here, and this is my opinion, I think 45 million and he is gone. I think if they get offered 45 million by the Chinese club, Arnautovic is history. And you've got to ask yourself, do we want this going on left, right, and centre? It reminds me of Nicholas Anelka, for those of you that that are of my vintage, you might remember. It was his brother was his agent, and it was him pimping him around when he was at Arsenal. I think it's Real Madrid, I think it's possibly where he moved to, and everybody else, his brother was troublesome, and it smacks of this, and it's all about money, and it's a real shame because he's an iconic figure in Arnautovic. He's a fantastic player. He's got so much going for him, you know, pace, power, goals. But he was a left winger at a lowly Premier League club. He'd been to other clubs. He'd been to Inter Milan. He pretty much failed there. The most successful part of Arnautovic's career has been at West Ham. But it's like he did it all himself. Well, I think we've played some part in that. I certainly think David Moyes has played some part in that. And Pellegrini, and even the owners for buying him. And I just don't think this has a happy ending. So I think they're going to take the 45 million if they get offered it. And otherwise, this is just going to stagnate, and it's going to go very, very, very stale. I'm just going to jump in. Oh, hello. There's lots of you. Lots of you in the chat. So hello, everybody. We've got Forever Blown Bubbles. We got Gary. Hello, Gary. Yeah, Gary's not impressed. Gary Page actually says at least they're doing it early. In the old days, Sully would have left it too late to spend the money. In Pellegrini, we trust. I've got to say, Gary, I don't think Sullivan is driving this one. I don't think he is in control of this. I think the timing has been done just purely from his brother and his agent. It's a real worry. It's a real worry. I've got to say. What else is yeah, I mean, sorry, Forever Blowing Bubbles is talking about the money in the China market. We should demand a sell-on fee, says Gary. I think that's a really, really good point. But I think when it gets to this point, he's basically said, his brother said in that statement, he wants to go. Please let him go. The West Ham fans have got to understand. West Ham should be grateful. He kept him up. He won the Player of the Year and the Players' Player of the Year and blah, 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 blah. So let him go. He wants a move. They're demanding it. How much? The ball is in our court in terms of we have a watertight contract. Again, it's not like the Declan Rice situation was where the contract was running down. But if we try and hold him to that contract, how motivated is he going to be? Let's be fair. He sulks when he's happy. He's very, very moody, even just when he's happy. So what's he going to be like if he's unhappy? Not good. It's not good. Gary says Antonio up front on Saturday. Then it'd be very interesting to see what Pellegrini does with this. Paul Knight, hello, welcome, Paul. He says if Arnie wants more money, he isn't worth more money than he's already being paid. Well, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But as I made on the point on a cup of tea last night, you can't just give him more money. You have to give him an additional year's contract. You can't suddenly give him 150 grand a week until he's 34, 35, because he's not going to continue that form until he's 34, 35. We talk about the pace. That's going to dwindle at some point. Of course, the injuries, he's not going to get better. He's not going to get fitter. His body's not going to get stronger, is it? He's going to break down a little bit more. I'm sorry to be doing this. I'm sorry to we're even talking about this, but hey, that's not my fault. I'm not releasing a statement. His brother's got a lot to answer for. And I've read a lot of comments where I think people are sort of almost wishing Arnautovic to come out, make a statement and clear it all up. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he'll say something nice. I think he'll talk about how much he loves West Ham. But I think the situation is playing out here very, very publicly. And very much saying he wants to go. And the club are saying he's not for sale. But they're also talking financial. They're releasing to say, well, how can he be for sale? That's a derisory offer. Well, if you're not selling something, you don't talk about being a derisory offer. It's just not for sale. So by the club saying it's a derisory offer, it suggests that they want more. That's certainly my way of thinking anyway. Richie Von Rock. Hello, Richie, mate. He says, do you think this is all to get Arnie a better deal at West Ham? It is to get Arnie a better deal. Originally, the Man United link, Ozil, he wants more money. He's wanted money since the start of the season. I've heard it said he needs more money. You know, the word needs is a funny one as well. Someone said that to me. But he's not going to get it for the reasons that I've just said, because they can't extend his deal any longer. You can't just, it's against the rules to just give people bonuses that are not in their contract as well. You can't just say, oh, well done, Marko, here's a couple of £1 million just to keep you happy. You don't do that, and rightly so. It stops it stops malicious player trading happening. It stops bungs, and it stops illegal payments, and that's right. Mitchell says it is Dmitry Arnautovic. It certainly has that feel about it. Mitchell certainly does, mate. What we got? We need to hear from Arnie himself, says Forever Blowing Bubbles. Well, I've gone over that. I think we will at some point. And Richie says for 50 million he would sell him, let him go to China and never be heard of again. That's I think there's many things in that statement that annoyed me, but that was the one. He wants to go to China to win title. Oh, do me a favour, just stop. At least be honest. Just say he wants to double his money. It ain't about titles. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Sitting his kids on his knee, telling them about the time he won the blaming League Cup in Beijing. Do me a favour, honestly. Nick Arnold says 50 million. Mark Weir says, when will people say I earn enough money? Which all top footballers do. Maybe it's not enough money for him, mate. Maybe it's not enough money. I mean, who knows how you would react? I mean, what if suddenly, what if I got 3 million quid? What if someone gave me 3 million quid? You'd like to think, oh, then I'll be a little bit frugal. I'll buy me mum. I'll pay me mum's house off. I'll buy me house off. But you might not. You might go and buy a Lamborghini. You might buy a yacht. You might buy a helicopter. You don't know. Who knows? Maybe they just go through this money really, really quickly. I don't know. I couldn't say. I've never had any significant sort of money to speak of. So who knows how I'd react? But I think we all like to think we'd be sensible. But I think it probably does something to a person when you're a millionaire and you're out in front of thousands of people. Tens of thousands of people who sing your name, and you've got adulation and you've got fame, and everyone's telling you you're the best and telling you you're brilliant and one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and your next wage slip comes in and there's another, it's 50 grand after 50 grand after 50 grand after 50 grand. You score a goal, there's another 20 grand, another goal, another 20 grand. He probably gets 20 grand goal bonuses. He probably got 40 grand for that brace he scored in the last game. He probably just in bonuses. And when that money's coming in, are you still going down Lidl's? You're probably not. You probably are going to Harrods. You're probably saying to the missus, I'll get you that, whatever. I'll get you that Mercedes you want. I just think you probably just spend money far more frivolously. So maybe he doesn't have any. Ben Davies would rather sell him to a club abroad. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be an awful lot of interest in this country. And are they honestly going to get into a bidding war of a Chinese club? I'm not so sure. Steve Hunt said, I would have thought Pellegrini would say playing in China isn't all it's meant to be. But that, Stephen, that supposes that he is going there for footballing reasons. It ain't. Actually, if he's getting money, then maybe China is all it's cracked up to be. If he can go there and he can earn £1 million in a month, maybe it is. Maybe he goes out there and he works whatever. I don't know how it works out. Maybe he goes there for 2 years and earns 20 million quid. Does it really matter if the football's crap and if the stadiums are no good and there's no atmosphere? That's it. Jazza says, hey, Gonzo, what's happened? Mate, you're going to have to tune back the start of the video, mate, I've got to say. But just quickly, Arnautovic's brother has released a statement saying that Arnie wants to leave. Go back to the start and I basically read it out. Yes, indeed, it is. It is his brother. Simon Pope says this January window should be banned. You play the whole season. I think there's something to be said for that. And he says 45 million, you can't really turn that down. No. And I don't think they will. And that's my point. The 45 million is my opinion. Most of this stuff is my opinion. But I do know a lot of you are going to share my frustrations with the way this has come out, the way his brother has acted. It ain't good. Very blame bubbles. It's just about money. And Ben Davis says, buy Zaha. I mean, there you go. The comments are going, and I thank you all for them. Graham Morris, welcome. He said he'd rather keep our pay structure and give Arnie more money. I just don't think it's going to happen. Gonzo, he said, Jezza says, Gonzo, how long's the stream delay? I'm live at the moment, mate. Obviously, I take it you're in at the moment. And it's 26 minutes past 7 as I speak at the moment. So I guess the delay is, about 30 seconds. I don't think it's an awful lot. And I've got to go in a minute. So I do thank you for joining me. But It's big news, isn't it? Ben Davis says, I wonder what the players are making of this. That's it. You know, we're worried about it. This is affecting us. It's not just disruption to the dressing room. The players will like Arnie being in the team because they could be losing 1-0 or drawing, and Arnie can make the difference. He can score that winning goal or get that goal that claims the draw. They don't need all this. Just when we had a bit of stability with Declan Rice coming in, I'm sure the players aren't impressed, but I guess the players will know more about his own financial and personal situation than we do. So who knows? Jappy, hello, mate. He says, Gonzo, do you think he will leave? In my opinion, yes, I do. I do. This is all just too public now. They can't put a sticking plaster over this now. There's only two things that can happen. Well, three things. Either he stays and he's really unhappy and it's disruptive. He stays and gets a new contract. That ain't going to happen for the reasons that I said earlier on the video, or he leaves. And I think at the moment, if I were a betting man, I would bet on he leaves. It's now a situation where I think they're going to get into a bargaining position. But what is strange is we still don't know who the club are. I think not unless it's changed in the last half hour. There we go. Listen, thank you everybody for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I'm not going to take any more comments now. Please keep chatting in the comments underneath. That's what the video's for, really. We had the cup of tea last night and everyone can leave their comments on there. But people are talking about it. It's what people want to talk about because, as I've said 3 or 4 times already in this video, just when everything starts going right at West Ham, something like this comes along and just drags us back down, just as we're starting to be a little bit happy, a little bit content. Got a spring in our step because Declan Rice signed a contract because we've got a whole season where we're going to be free of relegation, it seems, and we've got a good draw in the cup, and we don't need this. These players are disruptive. Maybe that's why Arnautovic has not played for a bigger club. He's certainly got enough ability to, but there seems to be something going on with the attitude and with the way this has come out. Because quite frankly, as it said in the statement, he's got a special relationship with the fans. He respects the fans. He loves the club. I've got to say, it's hard to believe when a statement like this comes out. I don't think it's the easiest thing in the world to run up to the fans and do that. I think I was quite critical of everything that happened with Declan Rice's contract situation, but he didn't hear a peep out of his agent. Declan always said he wanted to stay there. There was nothing like this happened, and in the end, he signed his contract. It feels like we're not past that point of no return yet, but it feels like we're very, very close to being no going back. And I'd be very interested if this continues to get sour, and it's sour at the moment, and it continues to get more sour. Would you honestly be happy with what have we got? What are we on? We're going to start in a month. Would you be happy with 2-3 more weeks of this, and it gets worse and it gets worse, and then we keep him? The club are making noises saying, "Oh, we'll sell him in the summer." I tell you, I think that's untenable. I think he's going to go. And there you go. But anyway, listen, thank you for joining me. We've done a preview for the Arsenal game up on the main channel. Please make sure you are subscribed to both channels. We've got lots more stuff coming on this channel. Marko Monday's going to be back very, very soon, and we've got some Premier League previews. We got post-match reactions, and we've got loads of other videos coming. This story is just going to run and run and run. Let me know your comments below. I've got a skedaddle. Thank you very much for joining me.